Wow.
Ah, Kathy!
Good morning.
Kathy!
Look at all these lively people on Saturday morning. Oh my God.
I know.
You're getting a cooking show too.
Yeah.
No kidding.
This is
Wow.
awesome.
I'm going to turn this so you can see my father. Oh,
Oh,
wait a minute.
neat.
I lost you. Wait.
No, you're still there.
You're
Okay.
still there.
If I turn this, am I going to lose you? Okay. I'm going to get my father to wave if I can turn this around.
Oh, Daryl.
Okay. All right.
Hi.
Awesome.
Hello.
Hello.
There, eh?
That's my father, Albert Williams.
Hello, Albert.
Good this morning. Oh,
How nice
very
you can
good.
join us. Hello, Brenda. Nice to see you.
Oh, there's Brenda.
I've got Brenda right here. You can see her?
Where's your headband,
I
Pat?
like your hat, Sean.
That's a traditional hat from, I think, Barbados.
Oh.
And when I take it off, it makes a little vase.
Oh.
I'm not kidding. And you can wear it upside down. There's a hole here too.
Can you unmute Brenda?
Oh, sure.
Oh,
There you go.
There we go.
There's
There she
Brenda.
is.
boy, some people would like to do that all the time.
Usually the other way around for me.
Yeah.
They usually want to mute me, not
That's
unmute me.
sort of what I meant. Donnie's upstairs burning the sausages. I got to go get him a
Oh,
chip.
no.
I'll be right back. I'll be right.
Morning, Shannon.
Good morning. Hey, Barb.
Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Paula and Sean with their hats on.
Yeah.
Well, you guys said we're supposed to wear headbands.
We did?
Oh, yes.
It
Yes,
said
you did.
it said it right on the Candy's mission page. We're supposed to wear headbands.
Yes, it does.
I didn't even see that.
Yes.
I missed that one too.
I missed it too.
And it had Pat Lewis at the top and David Barth, but I don't see your headbands.
I'll get a hat.
Okay, this is a pancake before I eat it.
Okay.
I'll get back to you in just a
You're
minute.
going to make it disappear?
Here we go.
There's only one way to eat pancakes.
Where'd they go? There
Hey.
you go. There's my headband.
Where is it? That's better.
Except I have
Oh my gosh! That's beautiful. Oh.
It's one of Sandy's hats. She
very short term.
has a collection of lovely
Good
vintage.
luck on you.
There we go, Mary Jean. Yeah.
Yeah?
I think I must have assigned to
Can't
it.
see anything.
No, they're wearing headbands, but this is my
Oh,
Outback hat. G'day.
That's an owl hat.
Yeah.
Okay, the first layer of the masterpiece has peanut butter.
Only peanuts.
okay.
Peanut butter.
All right.
I'm a strawberry girl.
Oh.
We threw raspberries from the garden in ours.
As many blueberries
Oh,
as
I
you
know
can.
Mary Jean has raspberries.
Hello, John Black.
Hello, John.
Hi.
Would you do the blessing on the pancake breakfast when we're ready, John?
Sure.
Thank you.
It's awesome to have a prayer from John.
You tell me when.
We will. I'm not sure when, but we will. Maybe
Hello,
David
Susan.
can tell us when.
You're
Hi,
muted.
Jean Braden.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi,
Good morning.
Hey, Braden, look who I've got beside me.
Oh, hello.
We can't see everyone.
Oh.
There's a boy that I haven't seen for a while. Yeah, welcome home, Ben.
Yeah, thank you.
How was the trip home? Any problems?
Yes, because they flew into Hamilton and there was lightning in Hamilton, so they couldn't get off the plane because in Hamilton, you've got to step down onto the tarmac. So
We're gonna need your phone.
an hour and a half on the plane. hot, couldn't, there's no drinks, no food, no anything. So anyway.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
He could write a book about his experiences
Thanks,
going back
Brenda.
and forth.
I didn't see the hat thing. Are we supposed to have a hat?
I missed it too, so I just grabbed one.
I love hats.
There's actually a headband, it said. We're supposed to wear a headband.
Well, a hat
Oh,
with a
it said-
headband isn't good.
It said bed head, not headband.
That's right. Bedhead. I remember seeing that. See, I had bedhead.
Headhead. I saw a headband. I'm looking it up.
Well, I have both. I have a hat with a headband and bedhead.
Oh, there's Art. Good morning, Art.
Good morning.
Hello, Art.
There's Kathy.
Hello. Hi there.
Sean.
Hi.
There's Sean, the amazing pancake artist.
Yes.
Excuse me, I'm burning my
Calligrapher.
Well, there's Dawn too.
Did you see it, Art?
How are those sausages?
Art, did you see? Oh, yeah.
The pancake calligraphy, I saw it.
Oh, Sean, you're muted.
How's that?
Yeah, that's good.
I was up pretty late doing those pancakes, Art.
So I saw from the post this morning.
I'll bet.
Paula drew out all the countries, and I tried to do it. Sort of.
I don't know how that works. She's the artist. I drew the country.
Yeah, you did well.
Thanks for including Haiti in there. That was like a little mini, it brought me right back there.
It was a pretty good representation too, wasn't it?
It really was. I mean, I was surprised you didn't have like cities marked on there. It was.
There's a funny story behind looking up the partnering countries. I opened up a page and I went, that doesn't look like David Barth. That looks like Chad Daly. Wow, they must really look alike. Then I read to the bottom and it was Chad.
Show them your pancake. You won't believe this, you guys. This is Paula's pancake. You have to see this, what it looks like every time she eats it. Can you see?
Oh, wow.
Got peanut butter and then all these things. Fruit.
The peanut butter is key because it makes them stick.
And real maple syrup.
Mm.
But yeah,
We also have, but I see you're like us, that's the almost real maple syrup. I mean, so we only have one bottle of the real maple syrup, as in like the daily, maple
The reserve.
syrup. And it is, we really debated, do we crack that open today for this? It's really saved as a gift for someone, and we're like, oh, no, we better keep it. We don't deserve it. So we're not.
But we do have the real maple syrup, but we've also got real maple syrup from our neighbor next door at the cottage, from Red, and it's from the maple trees from the cottage.
Oh, no.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
Also the blueberries from his Aunt Christine, who went berry picking last week.
Nice.
Very nice.
Blueberries already?
Yeah, blueberries and tiny strawberries. It's
wow.
Cool.
These aren't those strawberries.
No, those aren't those strawberries, but those are definitely those blueberries.
Good morning, Janice.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I slept in.
Oh, till 8. It worked. She slept in till 8.
Wow.
It's raining here today, so it's dark.
Yes.
We haven't had rains. We haven't had rain since June 23rd, and it's so welcome. Glad to have it. Anyway, I'm having French toast. It's quicker. Look who's here.
And those pancakes smell good. Mm-mm-mm.
Troy, how's Gracie doing?
Well, if you've ever been pregnant, you can imagine.
Morning.
She's pregnant and got sprayed by a skunk?
Yeah,
Oh, no, we didn't know that.
twice.
Oh.
But the other night it wasn't so bad. It was direct to, well, I mean, it was bad because it was direct to her face, but it only covered her head, so we didn't have to do her whole body.
But she's okay?
She's okay. She's a little out of sorts because there's still a little stink around, and she's probably smelling it. You know, their nose is 40 times more sensitive than ours. So.
Right.
And there she's walking down saying, come to the Casbah, like Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah.
Hi, Carrie. He's muted.
I know.
Hi, Diane.
Barb. And Diane.
I love how you guys have set up in your kitchens. That's awesome.
Morning, Barb.
Ah, finally. Yay. Got it.
Oh, there's Carrie.
Hi, Daryl.
Morning.
Morning, Carrie.
Hi, there's Daryl.
Morning.
Wow.
Hi, Barb. I love your hat.
Oh, there's Daryl.
Oh, there's Daryl.
Morning. Good morning.
Lots of hats.
Stacy, you must have really bad bedhead tonight because you're not showing any videos this morning, right?
Hello.
Oh, there she is.
We're just getting ready. We didn't make pancakes prior to the 8:30 start, so we're just starting the pancakes. So I've just been like crashing around getting ready, so I didn't turn anything on.
That's all right. We've had people making pancakes as we've been visiting. Morning again, Anne.
Let's mute ourselves.
Hello, Diane and Dell.
Oh, it's done. Somebody's
Hi,
done.
Oh, Daryl's got his headband on. Morning, Daryl. And
He's
So
muted.
now we know all the people who misread things.
There's my, I'm using Mary's exercise belt.
you look a little like Willie Nelson.
That's the only exercise I do is wearing this headband of Mary's.
Good morning.
Hi, Stacy. I like the puppy. That's their new puppy.
Oh, yes. This is
Adorable.
Crosby.
He's so much smaller than I saw him on Facebook. Oh,
Yeah, the pictures make him look bigger than he is. He's very tiny.
he's little wee. Oh, he's beautiful.
There's Larry. Hi, Larry.
Some people already have their pancakes up. That's excellent.
We're hungry. I don't know about everyone else, but we heard 8:30. And we're like, well, better make pancakes on Friday evening.
Geez, I feel like they're. Oh, no, I don't want to see that. I'm not talking. I'm muting myself. Mute me.
Ooh, blueberries.
Excellent.
I turned off the oven, but it's still warm.
That's right. I forgot blueberries.
Sure. What time would you like me to start, Troy?
After I pour my maple syrup.
Oh.
I'll leave that to you and Pat.
Well, I think I'll maybe do an intro in a minute, as soon as I put my warm up my French toast, and then we'll have John do the blessing, and then David, then you can take over from there.
Okay.
All right. So let me just warm up my French toast.
Yeah, I have to do my research about 40 hours a week. It takes up a lot of time. And I'm also doing some volunteer stuff.
Can they see you?
Oh.
Oh, look.
Okay.
Thank you, love.
What's the 35 for?
Ooh. We got pancakes. We threw some raspberries in the garden.
Nice.
Hi, Sandy.
Hello, good morning.
Maybe I'm wrong, but isn't it the 35th anniversary?
40th.
40th now.
Oh, because my husband did 35. It could have been easier for 40.
Time flies when you're having fun. Just 5 years goes by like that.
There you go.
That's okay. At the end of July, there's another anniversary celebration. You can do the 40 for then.
That's right.
I'll tell my husband.
I don't think you're doing pancakes. I don't think you're doing.
We never saw that.
Oh, put the plus in. Oh, that's cute.
Yes, yes.
Oh.
That's the metric version.
Oh. It's 40. Can you cut a plus?
How many do you want?
I wouldn't expect you guys to see.
That's funny.
That's fine. Here, we'll just push the table. No worries.
We'll say hello to all those who have joined us on Facebook. This is wonderful. Everybody say hi to those on Facebook.
Hello.
Hi, Facebook.
Hello, Facebook
Good morning,
world.
Facebook.
Roy, can you tell how many people are on Facebook? There's my French toast with my strawberry compote, my yogurt on top.
Oh my goodness, Pat.
That's good.
It looks like you could just pass that forward a little bit
There
and
you
come right out of the...
Pass it around.
I'm gonna start. Yeah.
You guys aren't going to want to go back to a plain old pancake breakfast up in Ontario.
Wonderful, Pat.
Just don't put me in the kitchen. I don't want to be there. Okay, I'd like to start by welcoming everybody. This is really exciting because this was birthed about 3 weeks ago after I attended a slim Zoom service on a Sunday morning where they were recognizing 3 of the people that they had contributed to. Organizations, and David Barth was one of the guest speakers on that day, and so he was talking about how life is different this year, and I started kind of thinking, oh my gosh, he's so right, because we won't be having reunions, and so we won't be having our pancake breakfast, and that's a tragedy as far as I'm concerned, because that's one of the most important parts that I think during reunion week. So anyway, I started percolating things in here and woke up a couple of days later and thought, oh, well, there's this new thing called Zoom and CEM is collecting ideas for. Maybe we could do this. I don't know. So I started talking to Troy and to Nancy Brookshaw and to Shannon Brown and like, and Becky Grigsby. And so because of all of that, we're here this morning. And so I am quite thrilled that as many people as are here have shown up. I really, really appreciate that. And I also heard that we've already raised a number of dollars already, even before this breakfast has started. So, so the purpose of today is to do our traditional pancake breakfast World Accord fundraiser, enjoy each other's company, enjoy the pancakes, and donate to World Accord. So that is why we're here today. So I have asked John Black if he would do the blessing on our food.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good to see you. It's always amazing to me to see the distances that are in between each of us, and yet we're all together. We live in an amazing world, and we give thanks for that every day. But would you bow with me in prayer as we return our thanks for this food? God of goodness and God of all creation, we just want to return our thanks for the blessings of today. We pray your blessing upon the food that we are about to share. We pray your blessing upon World Accord as they continue to do wonderful work amongst us and in various places of the world. We look to you for continued guidance and presence of spirit to uplift us and to be with us in those times that in which we need direction. And we continue to pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, John. So now our guest for the morning, of course, is David Barth. So David, if you would like to come in and carry on with a presentation while we eat. I hope you don't mind we eat while you're talking.
Oh, no, I think it's a good idea. Before I get started, thank you very much, everybody, for joining. Thanks very much, Pat, for kind of like pulling a lot of this together. I think that's really fabulous. I have something I have to share, and I'm going to do my share screen right now. And I'll put my computer sound on and hit my play button.
This is for our World Accord breakfast in the morning. I wanted to tape it because it's hard to see it in a picture. We worked on it most of the night, and we thought we'd enjoy taping it just so you can see it. I'm not going to show you the mess in the kitchen. No, but anyway, happy World Accord breakfast, everyone. We are big supporters of World Accord and all that they're doing. So this is just a little thanks to them. Thank you, David Barr.
Wasn't that sweet? I can't imagine making pancakes that fussy. I think that's really pretty amazing. Anyways, I just wanted to share a little bit with you guys, and because we're on Facebook Live, I'm going to do most of the sharing with you first, and then we will switch over, and we will get a chance to get into small groups so that people can actually just have a chance to visit with each other while they eat. Okay, so talking a little bit about what's been going on for World Accord, just wanted to share some things that we've been up to. As you know, things have around the world kind of ground to a halt, and it is a challenge for most of the organizations like ours to get out there into the field and actually make things happen, because we're working with partners and they're all locked down just like we've been locked down. And in some cases, it's really a huge challenge. In some cases, it's just more of a hindrance. But anyways, I just want to share. So in El Salvador, Dulcie Shepherdson, who's been going down there, she came down as a volunteer with me and just kind of visited the area and actually really took a shining to the family from El Salvador. And so she's been going down there and working with them. And she's working with her church, and they are doing some support with them to do some food distribution. And so that's kind of an interesting one, because she's been enabled to kind of like do a sisterhood kind of a relationship between the church that she's with and the church in El Salvador, and actually help then bring our partner through the church, right? So Adcasmus, who's our partner, been our partner for many years, is actually then working with the church, and it's gonna, I hope, bring the church kind of into a really good light with the greater community where they're serving. So that should be a really fun project. In Guatemala, it's quite different. They've been focusing on microcredit for a long time, and one of the challenges that they've had is that people can't get out to sell their produce, and so some of the farmers end up having to give it away, and in some cases it just doesn't get taken care of. It sometimes goes bad in the fields or whatever. But so distribution is a huge problem. And also the fact that people don't have jobs. So there's this lack of cash flowing through the economy. And so people don't have the capacity to buy it, and we can't get it to market. So that's a real challenge. And they're losing some of their microcredit funds. People are becoming less able to pay back their loans than they have been. We used to have like a 98% payback rate in Guatemala, and right now they're down at around 86%. And so it's they're looking to get some extra funds from the government of Guatemala, and they just needed some extra funds to boost up their funds. And we had money set aside for them this year for a sustainability project. And one of the things that we've done is we've said, well, look, we can't really focus on sustaining them right now until they we have to make sure that they can survive first. So we've provided them with $20,000 to boost up their microcredit fund, and they only have to pay 10 of it back. We gave them 10 as a loan, and but it's kind of like a loan from another fund within their organization rather than a loan back to us. And so the difference being that they'll be able to then access these government funds to boost up their microcredit program, boost up their capital, as well. This $10,000 that they pay back to a different fund will be something that they'll be able to then just simply apply or give us a proposal, to be able to spend it how they would like to. And hopefully it would be a sustainability project and around food security. What we're seeing is that while we're eating our pancakes is that food security is going to be kind of the big issue kind of coming up globally as a result. We've seen problems with people being able to get things to market. So we've also got climate change issues that are kind of affecting the food security. So food security is big. So we're going to try and get our partners down there to work on food security. In Honduras, I'm really happy to say that we just, I have a new agreement in my hand. I have to send it back. But the former Unitarian Service Committee became USC. And we'd kind of worked with them in the past on various types of things, but not on a project like this. So we actually have, we're partnering with USC Canada. It's now called Seed Change. And we're doing a food distribution and immediate food growth type of project in Honduras. And it's going to actually be Honduras and Nicaragua and Guatemala because Seed Change is quite a bit bigger than World Accord. So the overall project is like $1.4 million. And World Accord's portion of it that we're going to be doing through PRR is going to be around $200,000. And so that's going to be just a year-long project, but hopefully it'll allow them to get a bunch of seeds in the ground. Part of it is that when they start to get hungry, people will eat their seed because they run out of grain. And so the difference is, like when they have a crop, at the end of the year, they actually pick through and they find the perfect grains of everything that they grow, whether it's corn or whether it's beans. The most perfect ones are not for eating. The most perfect ones are for putting in the dirt next year because you're gambling that this is going to provide you food for the coming year. So the most perfect one is seed, and you save them for the next year. And you eat the grains, and those are the ones that are chipped and broken and cracked and just not perfect, right? Those are the ones that you end up as grain, and that's your food. But when they run out of that, they eat the seed, but then they don't have seed to put in the soil to grow a harvest for next year. So a lot of the money is going to be going towards inputs, right? So providing seed to the various farmers, as well as instruction on how to kind of like grow some crops in a way that will become very sustainable for them. So that's that group. We also are supporting a project in Nepal, and the project in Nepal has been on hold for a while because they had problems with mobility. But we've been kind of past our very next phase of acceptance from Global Affairs Canada, and so we're going to be moving forward with the project starting in we believe August. And that will be for women's empowerment, and that's a large project. We end up doing this project with the Egg Farmers of Ontario, so that's kind of my little plug for Scott Brookshaw and kind of Grey Ridge Eggs. Scott has provided our connection to the Egg Farmers of Ontario, and they have partnered with us to do some providing of expertise and consulting for the egg producers that are going to be setting up their small businesses over in, oh, there's Scott. Hi, Scott. Over in Nepal. And so at some point, we hope to be able to drag Scott over to Nepal with us. So that should be very exciting. And just as a little plug, I did use Grey Ridge eggs this morning for my pancakes, and of course, it made them extra good. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, anybody who's using Grey Ridge is having good pancakes this morning. Everybody else, not so good. Sorry.
Well, we have to support those who support us back, right? So it's great. And if you haven't been to their site, I'm just going to share this real quick with you because I think it's very cool. This is the site for not for Grey Ridge, but for the egg farmers of Ontario, and it's the people that do the Get Crackin'. And they have all these recipes on here, and some of them are really excellent. But you can learn about farm to table, and you have education, so you can learn about some of this stuff. And it's pretty educational site, and the recipes are actually really excellent. So I want to stop sharing that now, but that was a word from our sponsors. Actually, while I'm doing sponsors, maybe I will go back and share that again. And so I can just show you some of the other things that are going on there. So this is another one. This is the Reserve maple syrup. And I'm actually having Chad Daly's maple syrup here. The special thing about the Reserve maple syrup is that Chad and Shannon Daly donate 100% of the sale to World Accord. And you know, all the costs that they have on it, they just write those off. And so we end up as a wonderful source of income, and it's a really nice social enterprise that they've set up for us. And of course, I use this as my model when I set up the Caritas chocolate. And we're a little bit on hold right now, so distribution of syrup is kind of tough. Distribution of chocolate is even harder, especially in this weather, because it will not take the heat. So if anybody wants to do some chocolate, we do have to kind of arrange for kind of like batches to go from person to person, transported in cars that are air conditioned and that sort of thing. But we can do some chocolate, and we give Sandy and I give 100% of the funds to World Accord, and we just get a tax receipt for it as well. So that helps offset the costs. But it's the same type of model, and it works really well. So those are some things that are helping to contribute to what World Accord has got going on. We've been participating in all kinds of different roundtables and discussion groups with different charities across the country. One of the things that we're finding is that some charities that don't have such a wonderful donor base like World Accord are suffering. So there's going to be some charities that are going to be, the overall sector is going to have a huge decrease, probably 30 to 60% decrease in funding over the next year is what they're anticipating. And you know, we have a faith-based group, and we have a group of supporters and donors and contributors that really have a sense of ownership of World Accord. And so we're not seeing dips quite like that, right? So we're seeing that it's a little bit harder to kind of get out and connect with people and do the fundraising activities. But at the same time, things are happening, and we're doing stuff like this breakfast, and people are giving stuff online. So anyways, that's something that I just wanted to share. And there's one more very cool thing that's going on that just came up, and I wanted to share that with you. Let me share my screen here. So this is the World Accord Virtual Garden Tour fundraiser. And this was from a person that we originally met because she went on a construction expedition, and she really loved working with Al Wygood and the stuff that he does. So the idea with the Virtual Garden Tour fundraiser is the anticipation that people are going to spend a lot of time at home this year. And they're going to be focusing on stuff like gardens and doing renovations in their houses and whatnot. But she loves gardening, Jeannie does. And so she said, well, let's do this virtual garden tour. And what people are going to be doing, she's raising money to go down for construction for building schools. And what we do is we actually then have people simply contact Jeannie, and they provide photographs or videos of their garden. And this is over a long period of time. So it started on Wednesday the 7th and runs until August 20th. And then people have, there's 3 categories that people can go into. They can go for a flower garden. There's pools, patios, and planters. And the last category was exotic and rare plants. And so people will give a video or photographs to Jeannie, she'll post them on a group. And we've got the group, where did I put it? Oh, it's right down here. And I've posted the Facebook group for the virtual garden tour. I'll post a link to it. But if you just look up virtual garden tour in Facebook, you will find this group. And that's where we're going to have all of the photographs and whatnot that are going to be sent in. And to participate, we're just asking people to make a donation, any kind of donation that they are able to, and that's where that comes in. And at the end, people will be able to, there's a small prize. It's a small cash prize, I think $100 or something like that. Mostly people want to be able to show off their garden to their friends. When you're putting in lots of work to make something beautiful, it's nice to be able to share it. And so that's the concept behind that. One of the other things that they do is they have a garden section in the Grand magazine, and Jeannie works for the Grand. So the winners of this event are going to get a little bit of a spread in the Grand magazine. They'll get a chance to show off their garden for a lot of people to see it. So that should be fantastic. Just a quick note about Al Wygood. You know, when I left Honduras, I was stuck down there with a construction expedition after COVID hit and we locked down. So, you know, I was down there building the school, and then we weren't able to do that. But Al ended up staying down there. We felt it was safer for him to do that than it would be to go through all the airports and travel home, just because Al is 90 years old right now. And so he just finished another project in the village. He had a young family. I'm just going to bring up the picture of, this is the house that the young family was living in. And I know that Al said that the hardest job, they actually walked up the hill to this place, and all the neighbors carried all the materials, and they built them this, you know, small house. And there's Al. He loves to hand over the keys to a new place. So he's keeping busy down there. He's keeping healthy. And the guy, like I said, he's 90 years old, and you just would not know it from working with him. He is an amazing, amazing character, and we're so lucky to have Al as a volunteer, and they're really lucky to have him down in Honduras as well. Another thing we talked about was the Global Solidarity Conference, and I did put the link for this in the chat box. And this happened instead of Fastathon, and we raised about $6,000. But you know, we didn't really have any costs at all associated with that, so it was pretty awesome. And so what we did was we had these small presentations that we had spread out over the weekend, and they're on World Accord's YouTube channel, and it's just World Accord Canada. And if you follow the link I put in the chat box, you will see that we had one that was a session that was about World Accord and our partners. And then we talked about some other things that were just helpful for sustainability, like gardening. Shannon Daly and Chad Daly did this on gardening. And Megan, who's done several construction trips down to Honduras, is building a tiny house. And so she shared about her tiny house construction and kind of the thoughts that went into how it's going to be designed and laid out so that you can live comfortably in a very, very small space. On the Sunday morning, we had Vicki MacArthur, and if you've ever met Vicki, she is this wonderful, peaceful soul, and she's a former board member of World Accords, and she did this wonderful global solidarity meditation. And it was, if anyone's feeling stressed or overwhelmed by the situation in the world, this I thought was very cathartic, very healing, and it's here for anyone to use at any time. You could use it for a church service or just pop in if you'd like to have a lovely little meditation with Vicki MacArthur. Her husband Doug plays a little bit of music as well. Fantastic. This little section here was from my daughter Ariana, who came with me on this construction trip. As a matter of fact, it's the reason that I went, because she had, after many, many years, she was third runner-up 3 times to become the person from Fastathon to go on a trip. And this year was one of those years where we had 2 cancellations, and Ariana ended up from third or second runner-up being able to go on the trip. And so I ended up having to go with her. And it was a wonderful time in spite of all the stress of not knowing if we were getting home. This virtual conference also had this Minecraft Sustainable Homes with Becky, and we saw how teachers are using this game, Minecraft. We keep hearing about it. I know there's a lot of adults that's like hear from their kids that they're playing this game, and I know a lot of adults play it too, but I wasn't familiar with it myself. And so they used Minecraft as a tool to actually build like a little sustainable place to live. And so Becky kind of goes through that. So we had some youth involvement on this, and it was quite a bit of fun. So that was our virtual conference. And like I say, it's up there as a resource for anybody to go and take a look at whenever they might like to. So I think I'll stop sharing that at this time. So I've talked about the various types of activities. So our partner in Nepal has been still working, but they've been not necessarily being able to go to the field. We've had to shift exactly how we're going to do that, go into smaller groups. The Canadian government has been good in terms of allowing us to make shifts. And so there'll be some flexibility in the budget, like how the budget is spent, you know, what we're doing. We're not able to really shift what the outcomes are that we're trying to achieve, because that's the strength upon which we were able to get the funding for this in the first place. However, in terms of if we can't get the egg farmers of Ontario to go with us on some trips because we can't travel right now, we may have a smaller amount of in-kind contribution than we originally had budgeted. Or if it changes the nature of the program a little bit and things shift, we also have the possibility to have flexibility in the end date. So we were supposed to be a 4-year project, and you know, it might end up being, you know, adding another year onto the end in order to be able to get everything done. And we've been talking with the Egg Farmers of Ontario, Donna Lang there. She's been our representative, and we're looking for ways that that we might be able to kind of like increase involvement, and what kind of involvement we can have from here on the times that we can't actually travel. So we have to be flexible in some of those areas. So the Canadian government has been very good, and our partners over there so far have been focusing on the development of all the training materials that they're going to use for these 900 women and girls that they're working in the 30 communities. So that's going to be a really exciting project, and we'll see how it goes. World Accord is having to shift over to doing more virtual type of activity, and we'd like to keep more in touch, not necessarily sending out you know, requests for funding all the time by email, but simply by providing people with updates and information about what's going on, and you know, what we're doing, what our struggles are, what our successes are. Keep people engaged, because we do know that people have a lot of sense of ownership of what we're doing. So to do that, we do need people to kind of like provide us their email so that we can keep them on the list and just provide them with information on a regular basis. So if people can do that for us, that would be wonderful. So I think I'm going to let it go for there. That's a bit of an update. Things have been happening. We did have a decrease in income in April that we were able to get some funding from the Canadian government as well. So we've tapped into that, but we found that our funding rebounded in May and in June, and so that we're doing fairly well in terms of kind of keeping up with the expenses of the partners and keeping everything going in the field. The big thing is sometimes even if they can't do as much work in the field as we would like them to be able to do, we don't want to have the partnership dissolve because they can't operate, right? So we have to still keep our partners going, even if they can't operate at full capacity. So we try and keep them busy doing things like planning and proposals to other areas and that sort of thing. But there is very much some activity that some of the partners are doing and working with the poor. A lot of it tends to be focused around COVID. We also have a research project that we got granted for that we're working with Laurier. We have a professor there that's doing a project, and we're looking at the effects of COVID and climate change on mental health of the female farmers. So this is an interesting thing that will have you know, our name on this piece of research. Will assist with information from our partners, and it'll be something we hope that helps inform policy making for the government and other NGOs in Canada and maybe the rest of the world. But certainly understanding that that the mental health issues are definitely there, and the more stressful things are. We've definitely seen, at least in the early days, there was an increase in violence, in family violence, and a lot of that went back to poverty. You know, people are really stressed out, and you know, it shows, right? things happen that wouldn't ordinarily happen, and we tend to degrade a little bit in some cases. So at any rate, we're doing pretty well, and our partners are all healthy. We haven't had any losses of any staff. Excuse me. So I think that that we're doing pretty well, and I'd like to just thank everyone for continuing to support World Accord and continuing to feel like this is something that you have some ownership in. It's important, and we love that about you guys. So thank you. Oh, Stacy, those look amazing. All right. Thank you, Scott. I think we're going to probably stop sharing, or at least we're going to stop kind of sharing with Facebook, or we're going to shift over. What I'd like to do is just go into some small groups. Oh, there we go. Now we got our 40th. So yeah, World Accord is 40 years old this year, and we'll be doing a little celebration and whatnot on the 29th of July. So keep your eyes open for that one, and it'll be something similar to this. We'll share some of World Accord's work through the ages, and let you know kind of like where we're at with a lot of things. So that should be quite fun. So I think we can go ahead, and Troy or Mary Jean is going to move us into some small groups where you can actually just have a chance to visit with each other, and hopefully I'll pop in and have a chance to visit with you there as well on an individual basis. And if you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone, and we'll say goodbye to Facebook World, or at least for the time being.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. And tribute.
Okay, so we'll put you in breakout rooms for about 10 minutes maybe, and then just have a chance to visit with people. It's I find that it's really hard in a big space like this, virtually, to actually have a conversation. So we'll put you into smaller groups, and then you can do that there, okay? So we're gonna okay. So we'll put them into 5 rooms. There we go.
There you are.
Thank you.
Hello to people in our their new table.
Everybody came back.
There's Mary. Hi, Mary.
Who's talking?
It's David Barth here.
Hi, Dave.
Nice to see you.
Is Peter still there?
Yes, he is. He's going to stay for another week, and hopefully Wendy will be coming up in early August.
That's good.
Are
there no chocolate chip pancakes?
No, I didn't make any pancakes. I'm not a lover of pancakes. I mean, he'll eat them once in a while, but we prefer eggs or cereal, fruits. We got lots of fresh strawberries and blueberries, green peas. Dawn had some green peas.
Any hawberries? Do you have hawberries?
Mayor Mitchell's sister.
No.
No?
That's Manitoulin Island, apparently.
Oh, I thought that's where you were.
Brother.
No, we're along the north shore of Lake Huron.
Okay.
On the Spanish River.
Oh.
Oh no, that is Don and Mary. That's Don Mitchell.
Dawn's in the background there with a hat on and some crow feathers in it.
I thought someone was holding up fingers behind his head, but I couldn't tell.
You guys enjoy your visits?
I think he wins the award for the best headband.
What'd you say? The best what?
Headband.
Or bedhead.
So you have to swipe it. I forget which way you swipe it to see the other people.
Oh, there's no arrow, eh?
No.
So before I move you guys back to
have to get
another
sideways.
breakout room, does anyone have any questions at all for me?
Anyway.
Where's Al Wygood? Is he still in Honduras?
Al Wygood is still in Honduras, and he's keeping
Oh.
busy. I told Al before I left, I said, I know you're 90, and I know that there's COVID, and I know that, you know, he always wanted to be shot by a jealous husband. thought that'd be a good way to go. And I said it would be the biggest tragedy in the world, Al, if you died of boredom. Because he was having such a hard time when we were not allowed to do anything down there. And we spent some time, we tried to do little bits of stuff, you know, we made some chocolate from scratch with a stone, right? Where we roasted it on an open fire, and we used one of those stones to roll it out. And we did that. We tried a few different things just to try and keep everybody engaged. And it was hard, and Al was bored, and he was miserable. So, having Al die of boredom would be the biggest tragedy in the world. So he's been keeping busy down there. He's been able to get out. He finally finished the school that we started in March. And they actually named it the Al Wygood School, which is wonderful. He has not allowed that to happen in the past. There's been 4 or 5 times where people wanted to do that. And he just said, no, I prefer you don't do that. But this time, I think he felt such a connection with this community that he allowed that. And so we were all happy to see that this school got finished. So I'm gonna. Does anyone have any other questions before I move you?
What is that big black thing behind your right shoulder?
This I shared earlier. This is actually, it was a speaker from an old radio. So I originally thought it was going to be like part of a Victrola, but it had a little old speaker in here. And what I did is I put this Bluetooth speaker in it. And so for our wedding, I had it playing a bunch of old swing music, and it came up through the horn, and it got very tinny sounding. So it sounded very, very retro. So when Sandy and I got married, it was a swing kind of wedding, and we had a swing band there. And so that's what we used. And at the beginning, at least, at the entrance where the guest book was, we had swing music playing through that, and it sounded tinny and old. That's what that is.
Oh, thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
All right.
I have a question.
Shoot.
Okay. Just remind us, how do we donate?
Oh, there's a spot in the chat. So if you go to the chat room, there's a spot there. You know, you can go to World Accord's website, which is worldaccord.org. You can always donate there. And if you go to canadahelps.org, you can get it there. But there is a spot in the chat room where you can just click on that link and make a donation there. So I'm going to move you guys all to some rooms again. So please click on the link that takes you to your room, and you can have another visit with another group. We'll see you there.
Ooh, someone got a picture of the comet that's in the sky. It's up just off the, oh my God, it's a beautiful picture. And Banff.
In Banff? Oh, yeah. They probably have a good clear sky there.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, wow. That is outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we should get up and see the comet.
Okay. Sandy was just sharing with me, someone took a picture of the new comet. And it's in Banff, and they took it, and you can just see the top of the comet kind of coming down around the top of a mountain. Can I have your camera and I'll show them?
Yeah. All right.
They should be able to see it if I hold this in the right spot.
Oh, wow.
Can you guys see that? That's the comet.
Oh, that's awesome, right at the top there.
Put it down
They
there.
did a bit of a time-lapse, I guess, picture that they took to show it in order to get enough light, but the comet shows up beautifully in there.
Wow.
Talking about that for about a week.
1 a.m. That's not too late to stay up.
No, but that's 1 a.m. in Banff. It's 4 a.m. here, right? Or 3 a.m.
I believe they're saying between 3:15 and 3:30, and it's actually supposed to get its brightest towards the end of August. But on the other hand, they don't know if the comet is going to deteriorate before then, and in which case you will no longer be able to see it because it will be gone. So they're saying you're better to see it early now than later.
Yeah.
Can you show that again, David? I missed it.
I think I still have it.
Did you lose it?
I lost it.
Is it weird?
It was on my Facebook, but I forget. Oh, it was Mark Hairston who posted it, so I can find it again. He's an astrophysicist.
Share it with me.
Okay.
And I can probably just bring it up and share it right on here.
Oh, that's cool. What were we looking at?
We're going to try and find this picture of the comet that someone took.
Oh, a comet.
There, you should have it.
Larry Buchanan.
Oh, remember, keep on smiling.
Claire?
Yeah.
Oh, there's Claire.
Claire. Claire.
Hi, Claire.
Hi.
There's Jeff.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I'm going to share this picture of this comet so you can all enjoy it because it is really beautiful.
Probably got to blow up one. I'm not sure what focal length it is.
Right.
Okay.
Oh.
Wow.
You guys see it? Isn't that a spectacular picture?
Wow.
No, Berta.
Wow.
What's your
The picture of
That's
the comet.
amazing.
Yeah.
Went over the city here.
Is that
Coming
Banff
down
below?
Yes.
That is Banff, yeah.
Oh.
That's a stunning shot. Really.
Wow.
Oh, that's really neat.
Yeah, the thing about the comet is it, you know, when you see a streak behind it there, you think it's like a shooting star, like you just had to be lucky to catch it. But it just sits there, right? Kind of like cruising across the sky very, very slowly. And that big tail is just because the sun is blasting off all that material off the comet surface.
Wow.
Solar wind.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I'll go back to gallery view. So we still have like almost 20 people still with us. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Good. Do you all have enough pancakes?
On gallery if you want it.
Never enough pancakes.
3 little ones.
I want to see that. No, please no.
Dave, I have a question for you.
Okay, shoot.
How do you keep your emotions in check when you leave Canada and we get pretty near anything we want at our fingertips, but you go down to Honduras, Guatemala, and you see the true poverty of what they don't have, but what they do have, they're more than willing to share it with you. How hard is it to kind of keep your emotions in check for you to realize you're there for a specific reason? I don't know whether that question makes any sense, but how do you keep your emotions in check when you go from a land of plenty to a land of next to nothing?
Honestly, I'm not very good at it. You know, I do try. You do realize that there are aspects of their life that end up being a little richer than ours, and I think that probably helps. And when I say that some of their aspects of their life is richer, I think it's because they tend to be, you know, how we have this wonderful connection with our church family, but we don't necessarily have a great connection with our neighborhood family, right? But the people in all the areas where I'm at, they tend to be more connected with their local community. And I believe that local connection really helps them kind of like live a bit of a happier life. Like they do spend time socializing, you know, people to people. They sit in the park and they just talk. And I think that connection with people is something that we have lost a little bit because of you know, the trappings of life in our society. So we do have stuff, but I think that the stuff that we've had in some ways has taken us away from that connection with people. But I have to be honest, you know, keeping the emotions in check has always been a bit of a challenge for me. And it was definitely worse. You know, one of the things about COVID is it has really shone a light on mental health and mental illness issues. And we're starting to kind of like see that it's not so much that you either have mental health or you don't. It's kind of a continuum, you know. So what I've found is that, you know, I'll be watching a show and the next thing you know, I'm going to be in tears, right? This issue with racism that we've been facing in the States, on top of the COVID and on top of the climate change, it's just tough. And so I've been swimming in kind of the negative aspects of the world. That's kind of the ocean that I swim in with work, because I'm on top of all the news in these different areas. And it takes a toll, you know. So you start to appreciate that mental health is not just an us and them, but that everybody is impacted in one way or another. And we see this with the Ontario government. kind of recognizing that, we need to have access to counselors for people, right? And that this is something that is impacting. So I don't know anybody who hasn't had their life impacted to one degree or another, and find themselves sad. That sadness and grieving are kind of, some of the emotions that we go through when we think about, the state of the world and what it used to be like. At the same time, I feel strange about wishing for the old days, when I know that the old days that, we were living much more privileged and not paying attention to, the people that did not have the same privileges in life that we did. And when I think about privilege, I could teach a whole class on it. I'm at the top of the food chain in terms of privilege as a white male, and living in Canada. So if I was a white male living in, Peru or whatever, right? You don't have the same, access to some of the things that we have in Canada, whether it's healthcare or whatever. So, I mean, we have privilege because of our skin color. We have privilege because of where we're born. We have privilege because we have right-handedness, right? That's the easiest privilege to understand, right? Because we all know that odd person who's left-handed. It's like, well, I have to have a special pair of scissors, or all the doors are made for you to open with your right hand, and everything is built around the majority, right? Mm-hmm. And so you end up with this privilege that you don't really think about unless you don't have it. When it's not there, it's kind of like, oh, now I understand. I never walk to my car at night with my keys in my hand because somebody might attack me and I have to be prepared. I never even think about the fact that somebody might jump out of the shadows and pounce on me. When we talk to people that don't have the privileges we have, we start to understand it a lot better. So I do find that it's a hard issue, and I'm thinking it's getting worse. And I'm talking about it with people as well, in terms of the emotional aspect, because it is hard. It is really hard, and sometimes they come through. And I've asked people before if this makes them uncomfortable with my presentations, if I start to tear up a little bit, and most people feel that I shouldn't worry about it, that I'm trying to be as genuine as I can. But yeah, we do have it very good up here, but to some degree, we've lost the connection with our neighbors. We have that with our church community, but we've lost it with our neighbors, the people who live next door, unlike the people who are kind of like more dependent on their neighbors than we are.
I think under this COVID-19, even though we sometimes don't know our next door neighbor, but under the conditions of this COVID-19, we're seeing all the time of people helping people. Our manufacturing companies are making masks, they're making gloves, they're making the plastic wrap sheets, whatever you want to call them.
Yep.
So even though times are tough right now, we're seeing our people step up to the plate to help those that are less fortunate. In the city of London, which we're familiar with because that's where my daughter lives, and when they talk about these homes that they try to have for the people, we've seen them living in tents, we've seen them sleeping on the streets, and the Salvation Army, to their goodness, they're taking bottled water to them to keep them hydrated. So as tough as what I'm saying about COVID-19, and we come from a land of plenty, we're helping our people in this time. And I think that's a good feeling to know that we are helping our next door neighbor for whatever reason. And then I'll try to be shut up from now on.
Yeah. No, and I think it's important. I try to avoid the news that tends to focus on the negative. So here in Kitchener, we have like a 5 o'clock news and a 6 o'clock news. And the 5 o'clock news is all the good things that are happening in the community, as well as some of the bad stuff. But that 6 o'clock news is really kind of that international, is all negative. I mean, it seems like if it's not negative, it's not news, which is really unfortunate. And so I think we need to focus a little bit. And I need to, it's good. Thank you for reminding me, because I do need to focus on it too. Because I tend to read all the reports and it's all bad, right? So I'm kind of in that area where everything is just bad soup. And so it can be overwhelming sometimes. So it's
Thank-
good to, because I know that Canadians tend to really shine when our neighbors are in trouble, and not just our local neighbors, but our global neighbors too. Canadians are amazing that way. So thank you. Susan, you had a question.
I just had a question. Have you noticed in any countries that use genetically modified seeds that aren't able to then keep the seeds and use them next year? Is that been a problem?
Yeah, there's a number of, well, they're trying to get away from it in India. So in India, they used a lot of genetically modified cotton. And what happens is that you're conditioning the land such that it will only grow that cotton if you use that seed and buy all the inputs that they want from you. And so if you can't afford to buy the chemicals that kind of keep it going, the suicide rate amongst farmers in India is pretty high with this. So in Guatemala and Honduras, our partners are really steering clear of it. One of the things that we see is that the genetically modified stuff tends to be kind of like, here's a genetically modified bean. And the government, because of the lobby and whatnot, and the relationship between countries, the government tends to focus on providing those genetically modified beans from big agriculture. And it can be a real problem because they are not able to adapt those to the shifting environment, I guess, that they're going to have. So in Honduras, on a mountainside, my neighbor who's 300 yards away from me they got a lot more shade than I do on their field, right? Just because of the way they are. In some cases, they're a little bit down. So on a given mountain, you will have thousands of different combinations of climate, right? Which would be your amount of rain that you get, the temperature that you have, the amount of hours of sunshine that you have. And if you take a look at the different combinations of that, what I can grow in my property here, my neighbor 300 meters away can't grow it there, right? It doesn't work. So you have to be able to adapt. And so the farmers in Honduras have done that, right? So when they're working with their own beans and they crossbreed, and they'll get ones that have, the capacity to have a larger resilience when it comes to temperatures. So it can go with kind of like lower temperatures to higher temperatures, and it has a nice broad range. And you might then go ahead and cross that with one that has a nice resistance to drought. Right, so it can withstand drier climates, and if you cross those two together, you end up with a bean that's going to be able to work for yourself. But the real trick is to understand how to find what works for you on your property, and so that's what they do. These farmer researcher groups, they teach people how to discover what's going to work for them. The genetically modified stuff is a problem because it's like one size fits all, and that's just not the reality. So they're not able to adapt and shift to the changing nature of the environment with climate change. Any other questions? Did I answer that one well enough? Do you guys want to go back to another little breakout room to have some more time, or are you done?
Well, I'm afraid we have to leave. We have to zoom out.
It's been an hour and a half now, so
but it's been fabulous to see everybody.
It has been wonderful. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day and to cooking your own darn pancakes. I said to some of my friends, it's like, well, I'm going to have a pancake breakfast. Tell them when they have to cook their own darn pancakes, and then they have to give me money for that privilege to do it. And they said, that sounds like a good plan. How do you do that? So thank you very much all for showing up, and thank you Dean and to Troy for the technology help.
Well.
Bye.
Guys, take care. Thanks again for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Dave and
Thank
Pat.
you so much. Bye, everyone.
Dave and Pat, you'll be happy to know there were 76 people who watched us on Facebook.
Awesome.
76.
Let's hope that's 76 donations.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We started off. There was $1,100 before we even got started this morning. So.
Well, please let us know when when you get a tally.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to kind of like specifically designate it to one thing. But generally, what I'd do is I'd take anything that comes in between Friday and Monday type of thing, and say, yeah, that's from the weekend event. So, yeah. All right.
Okay. Thank you
Thank
so
you all
much.
very much again. Amy, I'll get in touch with you if there's a possibility to send some chocolate out and you want to drive. All right.
Thanks, Mary Jean.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.